Everybody, welcome, Cameron Parish Police Jury. Call the meeting to order. Today is Wednesday, February 14th, 2024. The 10 a.m. agenda morning session. Mr. Michaels is gonna say the prayer and lead the prayer, and Mr. Sam's gonna lead the pledge of allegiance. All right, we have Judge Anthony Eves here.
Sorry, I got busy. He couldn't make it. He tested positive for COVID. He called me Monday, so he apologizes. He'd like to just introduce himself, maybe next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And I believe Mr. Kevin Savoy.
They're gonna
Couldn't
come
make it.
next month as well.
All right,
I have the livestock show.
like Mr. Butler Bourgeois is up.
Good morning. Butler Bourgeois with Arthur J. Gallagher. Just wanted to give you a quick update on the property insurance renewal. We passed out this sheet this morning, two sheets actually. One is concerning the property premiums, and then the other sheet are the markets that we've approached or waiting to hear from. In the marketing of the property, we insure about 67 buildings for the parish. This year, a few years ago, we started to try to improve the information that we developed on each building. We had, in essence, construction square footage, but to the insurance marketplace, they want to know how your roof is tied down, what type of roof, the age of your roof. Those are called secondary modifiers. When we first dove into it, we collected the secondary modifiers on all 67 buildings, and that helped us improve in a hardening market. It just helped us improve our position to get more carriers involved. This year we went an additional step. We did what they call geocoding, where actually in the spreadsheet of your buildings, we have a link. And we also had a valuation assessment. wanted to give you an assessment and the ability to allow administration to take a reduced premium if we're able to do that with our additional carriers. Any questions?
You said the same coverage
Yes, sir.
at a reduced rate.
Yes.
I'd like to know how you did that.
I like it too.
Are the carriers that, we had before, are they still heavily involved in with re-insuring the bears?
So, when Hurricane Laura came through, that was a different carrier. So now we have new carriers, and you can see the plat that we have in front of you. We've got 8, 9 carriers involved. I think it'll change a bit to where we have, we may have some new carriers involved in the overall program. Probably stick with about 8 or 9 carriers, the way that's layered up. We have the placement that we have now, so what we really do is we strive to look at the highest cost and find somebody to replace it. And that's if instead of being replaced, if they want to move to a different position and be more competitive, great. If not, you're out. We're in a good position. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Butler. Wendy,
Sir,
you have anything?
no, no, sir.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Tom Barrett, golf cart ordinance.
Good morning, gentlemen. Last year, this issue came up. The jury then asked me just to put it off till the election, and so here I am to talk to you about golf carts. There's a statute that allows, if you want to adopt an ordinance, that you can adopt an ordinance that allows golf carts on public roads with a speed limit of less than 25 or 35 miles an hour. It's pretty intense on what the owner of the golf cart has to do to qualify the golf cart to be on the roadway. So anyway, it's not on your agenda. I just wanted to bring it up. I will email you something that the Department of Public Safety, Motor Vehicles, has sent us, and it kind of outlines what's required of the golf carts, just so you can you can see that. And then you all have to make a decision. And then also you have to identify which roadways. This came up, Holly Beach brought this up in the summer. That's where it started. It doesn't have to be parish-wide. You can just pick and choose what parish roads you want to allow if you want to. Holly Beach, you may say Holly Beach wants it, we'll approve it for Holly Beach. But the rest of you may not like the idea. Again, it's district by district, road by road. But it's just something for you to consider. And once you get the email with the information, you have any questions, of course, call me. But we would have to draft the ordinance. You'd have to adopt it, and then it would be it would have penalties, just like any other traffic violation. But it would be under your ordinances. So, all right. Any questions? I just wanted to bring it to your attention because it was on my
I
calendar.
think you answered the questions I had on it, so.
Do we have it? I haven't seen it.
I have not drafted an ordinance. Hey, I've got a few copies. I can give it to you right now.
Well, I'm just wondering what the difference is in different areas, so I'll be interested as soon as you can get it to us.
Yeah, I'll email you what Motor Vehicles puts out. It's just an outline, but it mostly is so you can see what is required of the golf cart. And there's you gotta be licensed. I mean, 10-year-old's not supposed to be driving under these rules. So there are some regulations in place for, obviously, it's for safety reasons. But ultimately, it's just you don't have to do it. Holly Beach community asked me to bring it back up, so bringing it back up for your consideration in the future. And
Does the state have any set guidelines for golf carts?
yes, that's what. So there's a state statute that outlines this.
Okay.
Motor Vehicles just puts like an executive summary together for, and I'll send you just the executive summary. I'll send you the statute as well. You
That's
know.
fine, I thought there was one already
Yeah.
set by the state.
Well, the state, but it basically says the governing authority or municipalities, city councils have it's your decision. It's not a blanket statewide authorization, because you have to decide which of your roadways allow golf carts on or not. I mean, so that's
Also,
up to y'all.
you're saying, Hollow Beach asked for it, I don't know any other areas we may or may not have.
I think they have it in the Grand Lake area already.
No, we don't have any, we do not have an ordinance addressing golf carts right now.
But they've been allowed to be used.
I think as a practical matter, golf carts are being driven on some of your roads in some of your communities. Big Lake, the old Bears area, Holly Beach, I'm sure, you know. But we usually don't get tickets on those unless there's a problem.
Well, those roads need to be marked, but we have to buy special signs.
There's no signage issue, it'd just be in an ordinance, kind of like, so, well, speeding's not a good example because we have speeding signs, but it would be in the ordinance. The sheriff's office would be aware of which streets are authorized, and they would, you know, conduct their traffic safety.
I guess the reason I'm asking that, you get Hollow Beach, for example, I wanna separate the state highway from our parish roads.
Yes.
And I don't want them to think, well, I can drive my golf cart anywhere I want. And
Well,
up on a,
you know, so we don't have authority over state highways. So we cannot authorize the golf carts on state highways. We can only authorize them on our roadways. And for information purposes to the public, if you so choose, you know, your road and bridge can maybe put signs at the roads leading up to a highway and just say golf carts not allowed past this point or something. You know, but we're not required to do that. But of course, if that's a decision y'all want to do and get with road and bridge, you know, we can do that.
probably have to have some signage, but, last question would be, are ATVs gonna be included in that?
No, so they define off-road as a different animal. So it's got definitions of golf carts, off-road, ATV. It's got, the statute addresses all those different, and no, some off-road vehicles are not allowed. Some are. It just depends on the definition.
But the ordinance will describe it.
Yes, we will basically copy what's in the state statute into our ordinance, and then identify which roadways you authorize the golf carts, if you choose to do it.
So, just real quick on that, if, cause a lot of people nowadays, a lot of people got golf carts, and then there's another bunch of people that they would prefer buying side-by-sides, so to speak. Say if there's a certain area that, you know, a lot of people, it would be nice to drive your golf cart down the road, say like probably Big Lake, Johnson Bayou, Holly Beach, Rutherford Beach maybe a couple of some subdivisions in Grand Lake, where not throughout the parish. Is there any way, we could maybe stipulate, if we do the golf carts for somebody, that if you got a side-by-side or something to that nature, as long as you're not by no means speeding or nothing, would they be allowed also, or?
The statute that authorizes you to allow golf carts describes golf carts, an electric four-wheeled vehicle originally intended for use off-road on golf courses and other green spaces with a maximum speed of 25 miles per hour. That's all about golf carts. The statute talks about off-road vehicles, and they define off-road as opposed to golf cart. Off-road vehicle, including but not limited to three-wheelers, four-wheelers, or other all-terrain vehicles which are not typically designated for road use. And it goes into some more, and again, it's up to you all. I'll send this to you and decide. I'll let you know which items are allowed under the ordinance and which are not, because some off-road vehicles are not. And and I would just have to identify those for y'all, of which, now, as a practical matter, if there's a side-by-side, okay, there's also utility terrain vehicles. So there's off-road vehicles, utility terrain vehicles, and golf carts. So those are the three general definitions. And one of, I think utility terrain vehicles, one of them is allowed, one of them's not. So we could probably work that into the ordinance, based on the definitions.
Yeah, 'cause I wouldn't foresee, I wouldn't like to see four-wheelers on the road, you know, but, you know, most of these side-by-sides are like vehicles, some of them are street legal and stuff, so, I would, you know, if it's our ordinance, maybe we could mode to something to that nature.
Yeah, so utility terrain vehicle shall mean any recreational motor vehicle designed for and capable of travel over designated roads with a minimum width and height and speed. So you can include utility terrain. Off-road cannot, so they don't want four-wheelers and three-wheelers and things of that nature on the road, but golf carts, and as they describe, utility terrain vehicles, we can incorporate into the ordinance, so.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Again, this is just for information, start to consider it, I'll email you the information. So,
Thank you, Mr.
think about what roads you may, if you do want it, what roads you want to allow it. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Robin?
Good morning. I wanted to just let the jury know that we had a the state coordinator did a CAV visit, which is a community assessment visit. I met with the two ladies and we kind of went over our permitting processes. They also, while they were here visiting, they pictured 17 structures. They're not necessarily in violation. They just want to see documents like permits, final ECs, any enclosures. They want to make sure that they have these flow-through vents. Most of the property, the structures are in compliance. And the few that are not, I'm working with those residents and getting the proper documentation that we need for compliance with this visit. They did state as of January 2nd, 2024, Cameron Parish has 1,100 effective policies with coverage totaling $283 million. So I am working, like I said, with the residents to get what FEMA is requiring. Y'all have any questions? If y'all need to.
Policies are just flood.
Flood, yes, sir. And if you need to see any of the, any of the pictures or need to see the documentation, I can get with y'all after the meeting and show you any of that.
I got a question for these, particular, Miss Sonia McGee, reached out to me about a Park View building or whatever you wanna call it.
Yes, sir.
She's checking all the boxes, but I think there's a roadblock on the width of 8 foot. Could you, do we have any ordinances preventing anything over 8 foot, or is there anything we could possibly do or look at?
So our ordinance does not specifically say 8 foot width. I actually have the definition, if you'd like for me to read that to you.
Yes, please.
Recreational vehicle means, is a vehicle which is built on a single chassis, 400 square feet or less when measured at the largest horizontal projection, designed to be self-propelled or permanently towable by a light-duty truck, designed primarily not for use as a permanent dwelling, but as a temporary living quarters for recreational camping, travel, or seasonal use. So it doesn't state the 8 foot wide. I know we've had some conversations in the past, Tom.
We're currently in litigation over this issue, not particularly the 8 foot, but just
Yeah.
park model. It's, Police Jury versus Benoit.
Yes.
Benoit, the judge ruled in our favor that park models do not, and park models is a generic, we kind of know what they look like. They look like
Yes.
miniature homes / trailers.
Yes, so,
If they would build them a little bit smaller, then they probably would qualify.
yes, so, I think the park models, I think they're gonna check all the boxes in that case. It was kind of brought to my attention. But they're using it for commercial uses. That throws it under a totally different set of rules.
It doesn't matter what the reason. If it doesn't meet the definition, it's a violation of your ordinance, and we have to enforce the ordinance.
I know for a park model, we call them park models. On the title, it says recreational vehicles. A camper is a recreational vehicle, it states that. Does FEMA state anything in the FEMA policies of,
I know Miles previous, this is way back before my time, I know that Miles did have some correspondence from FEMA. I know that they're built to the ANSI.
So Miles Abear, who's now retired, it was qualified as an expert in these matters in our trial, in your trial. And he had corresponded with FEMA back 12, 14 plus years ago, and it's continued. We have emails from back after Hurricane Rita.
Yes.
This issue, as it is today, was an issue then. And FEMA expressed, my recollection is, park models do not fit, definition of RV.
yeah, that was through emails, but
And that's
I'm looking at the thing, because you stated a good point about square footage. It can exceed 400 square footage.
Yes.
From my understanding, and FEMA's in black and white, because it states 400 feet, 400 square foot. It don't say nothing about width, so if they have a park model and it says park model on the title, then it's a park model. But if they have what we presume to be a park model, but all the documentations and titles state a recreational vehicle like a camper does, I think FEMA even went into talking about like the wind loads and stuff like that on them. They're not built to HUD specs. HUD is for a trailer house. A recreational vehicle does not fall into that category. But if it's a park model and a RV, recreational on the title, and it's over 400 square foot, I don't believe we could do that. So my question is, specifically say for Miss Sonia McGee, she's under the 400 square foot, she's over 8 foot wide, by all the FEMA stuff we have, is she gonna be allowed to be on the ground or not? I know the court ruled it, but I mean, our
I
bylaws.
think that's something we may have to revisit.
So I
Because I know
don't,
this 8 foot was kind of the question, huh?
that the width has to do with DOTD. At 8.5 or more, you get up to a certain, y'all may know better, look.
I think anything over
I
8
called
foot
Patrick
has to be
Abear,
vertical.
Patrick spit this out for me, and he gave it to me, I wrote it down. But at 8.5 to, I think it's 11 or 12, you just have to you have to call and get a $10 or $20 permit.
Yes.
And you say, well, because FEMA, again, the policy, if I'm repeating myself, I've said this 100 times. FEMA dictates the policy, our ordinance just follows their policy. But the width has to do with FEMA and the state being concerned, especially in our parish. These are state highways getting in and out of our communities. If there's a 11 foot wide anything, trailer, park model, and it breaks down, we got a problem. So you're putting the community at jeopardy in evacuating. The other thing is, then while they this argument, I can call them that wide, it might be, but it doesn't matter. In theory, I just call the state and get my permit over the phone. Well, when you're at 48 hours before evacuation of a hurricane, good luck getting DOTD or somebody on the phone when everybody else is evacuated. So the reality is, that just doesn't work. The policies and things are there for that reason. But at the end of the day, the width is not necessarily ours. We don't even have anything about width in our
Yes.
ordinance. We just have square footage.
So,
Is DOTD and
You make a good point of 48 hours up to evacuation. You can get a permit at a drop of a pin for $10. During those times, you ain't gonna be able to get it. But from my understanding, when we're evacuating, you don't need a driver's license, you don't need permits, you don't need license plates, you don't need paperwork. Get your stuff, by law, it's legal to do, get it out. I understand the concern about the width and stuff. A lot of campers, Ms. Sonia McGee brought the campers to life. A lot of them from off the showroom floor are over, well exceeds 8 foot wide without the slide out. So technically by law, I have a gooseneck trailer. It's 102 inches wide. By law, every time I put it on the road, I should. But, you know, you can over to that extreme. So my thing is we need to help people come home, and if that's an option, if we check all the boxes, all the rules, we don't want to break no rules. But I don't think we should be looking and worried about these trailers leaving, because this particular trailer left in Delta. Had it would have been up and in the air for Laura, they would not have this. So I understand most cases might be questionable, but by the bylaws and the rules FEMA has in place, I certainly think Miss Sonia checks all the boxes.
Sent our letter from our office, or we haven't filed suit over this particular part model of this item yet. But as I understand it, that was not definitely recreational vehicle as it is defined at this time. So whether it's and again, it's not the width, because we don't describe the width, we just have a square footage. So, and it's from the tongue in width. Ordinance says 400 square foot or less.
Yes.
Miss Sonia is $3.99.
And measured from, measured at the
Just
gorgeous onto
Yes.
Okay, all right.
horizontal
The tongue's
projection.
removable. So just we went in great detail, but I wanted to put it on record for
If
the.
it's 399 from the tongue, so before we at some point in the Benoit litigation, we asked the police to go out and get all this, because it became an issue. So before we did anything, we are accurate in our information. But at the end of the day, if it's less than 400 square feet, then it's a recreational vehicle per our statute.
Mr. Chairman.
I mean,
And I know some of these port models, Mark, I know some of these port models or tiny homes, they do have ORV on their registration.
Yes.
I know that has been brought up as well.
Yeah, that was in our
Just to be
litigation.
clear, with these
Mr.
park models
Mark,
and stuff.
may I chime in, please?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think it's been a long time since we've revisited these ordinances. They were adopted under prior leadership, prior department heads, prior FEMA leadership. There has been some laws changed since then. We're actually able to homestead an RV in Cameron Parish now. So I think just based off of that fact alone, I think it's probably past time for us to go meet with the new FEMA leadership,
Yes.
with you guys, and let's see if we can update our ordinances to reflect current laws and your vision is for Cameron Parish. If you would like for us to set those meetings up, we'd be happy to do that.
Yes, because like I said, Ms. McGee went in great detail. I come here just looking for an answer. Everything me and Ms. Robin and Ms. Kara found shows that Ms. McGee's well in her rights by FEMA's rules and regulations and the one that we have to set in place.
Yeah, we've had that argument before, and I was gonna ask Tom, when's the Third Circuit gonna hear that case?
It'd be, end of the year probably before we even have an opinion.
Well, once they hear it, maybe it'll give us something to go forward with, but I think if I'm not mistaken, what Miles has in the ordinances came directly from FEMA, and they were pretty much stuck in the mud with it. We can go back and visit with them,
Yeah, that
and if y'all
was-
choose to.
We can always have conversations.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We had a lot of them this morning. So this is what
What
I'm.
would you like for us to do?
FEMA's rules right now, that's in FEMA's book that we have that we're following. Maybe when we go and meet with FEMA, they might have a new set or provide it, but I think the ones we have are up to date, correct? So by those things, because by no means we want to be going to court, go to court rulings. We're here to obey the ordinances. As long as they check the boxes and what it says in black and white is what's on the paper, I believe we're good. Now, if somebody turns them in and that's not the case and it's got to go to court, so be it. That's part of it. But to get people here and to allow people to do what's within our ordinances and not allowing people to work outside of that. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of different park models, park views. If it's over 400 square feet, from my understanding, they don't qualify even if it says recreational, but under, they qualify. So, I believe she's gonna come tomorrow with y'all, and I would really like to stay updated on that.
Okay,
'Cause,
absolutely.
I mean, I think from our conversations and stuff, I think she checks all the boxes for that.
Okay, sure thing.
If you
Okay.
can keep me posted on that, it'd
I
be
sure
greatly
will.
appreciated.
Okay, any other questions?
Thank you, Ms. Rob. So, I see Mr. Josh Hightower's in here, Mary, can we have Mr. Josh?
Everybody.
There's just been, people in the parish talking about mosquitoes. Having him here will get him to update us.
All right, can everybody hear me good? All right, well, thanks for the opportunity to come meet with everybody to discuss our current mosquito problems that we've been having. And, it's all really a direct result of the drought we had this summer. Because during the drought, even though there's no water in the marsh and everything, the mosquitoes lay eggs in the soil above the water line. So like when there's a drought, there's mosquito eggs all in the cracks of the marsh. And then, whenever that coastal tide came up in September, October, it just made a huge widespread outbreak, and all that water was salt water to begin with. So the species that we've been fighting with ever since that flooding the saltwater marsh mosquito, and they can be real abundant, they're real aggressive all day long, and that's our big primary focus is trying to get rid of them. And then the timing of everything too was like the huge initial outbreak was in the fall, but then it lasted into the winter. And then once you get into the winter, controlling mosquitoes gets way more difficult because we have to abide by the pesticide labels. And according to the pesticide label, it has a temperature cutoff. You can't spray when it gets below 50 degrees. And you can't spray, like with the airplane, has a rule where you can't spray unless it's, like the earliest you can spray is 2 hours before sunset. And a lot of times in the winter, the mosquitoes are more active, like around noon, 1 o'clock, stuff like that. So like by the time it gets to where we can actually spray, the activity has dropped a lot. So that's one of the hurdles too. Also in the wintertime, there's a lot of foggy days, foggy nights. To get up with the airplane, we have to be able to spray like when the conditions, or VFR, which means visual flight regulations. We're not allowed to spray unless conditions fall under those categories. And at nighttime, that's 5 miles visibility and a ceiling of 2,000 feet or lower, or higher, clouds. So if it got like low clouds, fog, we can't spray the airplane and stuff. And then, so like really in the wintertime, the major hurdles are just fighting against the weather to get enough days to spray consistently to take care of the problem. And that's really our biggest hurdle that we've had so far. Might get like 1 or 2 warm days where conditions are good, but then you get like 1 or 2 weeks where the conditions aren't good. So it just takes multiple sprayings. It takes, like with the airplane, it would take 4 nights to spray the whole entire parish. And if you only get 1 or 2 nights here and there that are good, it just starts piling up, and it's hard to, get good control measures going in place. And then with the trucks, it'll take, like if every truck goes out, it takes about 2 nights to spray the whole parish. And then, y'all have any questions for me?
Hey Josh, I just want to comment. First off,
Yes.
thank you for coming and talk to us, people that are concerned. Second off, thank you for working with us. I know you work with me and a few others, spot spraying and addressing those. Thank you for that help as well. But what I do want to offer you is if we're running into any kind of brick walls with regulation or things like that, I've reached out to Clay Higgins' office about this topic previously and other things. Please lean on us. If we can get any kind of exceptions or you know, any kind of extra, you know, legalities out of the way. We need to really try to move forward. You know, if you're hitting hurdles and it's as simple as a regulation, maybe we need to visit that, you know, at a higher level. So.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because actually this year I'm currently the president of the Louisiana Mosquito Control Association, and in May they're going to give me an opportunity to go to Washington D.C. and meet with all of our congressmen and senators, and I'll be able to discuss a lot of regulations with them and stuff like that.
Don't feel like you're alone. I mean, I know I'm speaking on behalf of myself, but I think I can speak on behalf of this jury that, you know, if you need some help with that, let us know.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
On these rules and regulations, are they fixed hard where you can't spray, or they're just suggestions that you don't spray?
That's they're federal law.
Is it federal law that says you can't spray after a certain temperature?
Yes, sir.
What would be the reason for that? I mean,
The reason is because the mosquitoes are not very active when it drops below 50 degrees, and all of our sprays that are allowed for widespread mosquito control, they're all contact killers. They don't allow us to use chemicals for widespread mosquito control that leave a residue behind. Like private pest control people, they'll spray your yard whether they have mosquitoes or not, and it can make a barrier that lasts for like a month or something like that. But for widespread mosquito control, all the chemicals have to be contact killers. You can't have a residue that can run off into the marshes and et cetera, you know. So that's one of our main guidelines. But the temperatures has to do with, because when it's below 50 degrees, the mosquitoes are not that active. So when you are spraying, you're not gonna hit any active mosquitoes and not get a good kill. And then another reason is if you spray them when it's not good killing conditions, you're adding to insect resistance, insecticide resistance, and like the more they get resistant to all the chemicals that we have available, the harder it gets to kill them. You know?
I think that's a good point that you made as far as the contact, you know, to the reverse, because a lot of people are stating, hey, I sprayed my yard and it's working, they must be spraying water. So, I mean, that's really good information.
All right.
I appreciate you sharing that with the group.
So, basically, if we were a private entity, we can control the mosquitoes. By the law set forth that we have to follow, it creates a hurdle for us, a big one.
Somewhat, but if you were a private contractor and doing widespread mosquito control, you would still have to use chemicals that we're using. I'm talking about just like if you hire a private pest control for your, like a yard, like little certain spots or stuff like that. And then I know a lot of those guys that do yards and stuff like that, a lot of them are having to, you know, they pay like, they charge for 1 month so much money. Well, a lot of their customers are getting them back and back and back over and over and over, you know, because the mosquitoes are so bad, it's widespread. Like, it's in Lake Charles, Texas, all of South Louisiana is dealing with the same problems that we are.
Just so the people in the public know, say if they have a tremendous problem at their home or something like that, is the mosquito control allowed? Are we allowed to, if they call and make a complaint, do we go out and take care of that, or
Yes.
how does that work?
Yes, if anyone calls, I'll send someone out to check their yard, or we'll try to get them lined up to we spray that night or something like that, but we try to go check their yard. And if we find a really extreme mosquito problem, we can spot spray as well with same kind of chemicals that private pest control uses.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I just wanted you to clarify that. That way the people will know.
Right.
And, we really appreciate it.
And we also use those same chemicals for spot spraying on like I've contacted all the schools because all the spring sports are about to start up. And I've gotten most of their schedules, and we do extra spraying, you know, for all the baseball, softball games. And then Easter's coming up pretty soon, so like if anyone has a community event, they just need to call the office, and we can you know, schedule some extra spraying for those community events like Easter egg hunts, church services, things like that.
and so, I get back to the question on the degrees, and I'm assuming your budget's pretty good to where you have the money to spray.
Yes, sir.
I know that, it's 40 degrees a lot of times at dark,
Right.
and that's when we need to spray, and you can't spray because it's dark, and you can't spray because it's 40 degrees. We gotta figure out some way to get more spraying done in the places where they're heavily hit, where they're heavily populated.
Yes, sir.
I don't care about the cows, I don't care about the beach, but I do care about the people. So whatever you can do, there's got to be some things. We double up on your spray, double up on your people, whatever you need to do. Try to get some more spraying out there to alleviate this problem as much as you can.
Yeah, pretty much every night that's falling in the conditions that we can spray, we have sprayed, at least with the truck or the plane.
Well, you saw the video.
Yep. Well,
Videos.
I've made my own videos like that too, because I have to give talks statewide sometimes, and it is very, I don't know, see a video like that, it's very impactful, that's for sure, you know. But the mosquitoes are attracted to the exhaust coming out of vehicles and the heat of the vehicles, so they are very attracted to all the vehicles that are sitting there running.
Josh, I got a question. How long do you think it's gonna last about this problem?
Well, it's gonna take take a little dry spell to keep them from hatching off more and more, because every time it rains, you're gonna have a new hatch off a week later. And it's gonna take a nice little spell of some warm conditions to spray, like 4 nights in a row of good warm, clear weather to spray.
So spring maybe, sometime?
Yeah.
Okay.
The weather conditions lately have been getting more and more favorable for us, that's for sure. We've been able to get it out more and more and spray more.
And the number, your number is on Facebook somewhere where the people can find it?
It's on Facebook, it's on Google searches, all that stuff.
Okay, well, we want to make it available. If they're not calling you, they're calling us. So, and then you know who we call? We call you.
But I prefer if everybody just calls me in the first place, and I don't really make decisions off of Facebook and all that, so if they don't call, I'm not gonna really know what their problems are.
It's on our website as well, Mr.
But everyone that has called, like even through Christmas, New Year's and all that, like New Year's Day, I was calling people back on New Year's Day, New Year's Eve. If they call, I'm either gonna answer the phone right away, or I'm calling them right back.
Thank you.
All right.
Other question?
All right.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Josh.
All right.
Appreciate it. All right. Agenda review. Review the agenda.
We talk about a few things on the agenda, or we wait before we vote, or how you wanna do that?
Got any questions about the voting agenda?
Yes, I kinda wanna just be transparent with the people on 2 things on the agenda in my matter. First of which, we still gotta go up to a vote, but I'm looking to, take, Miss Michelle Trahan off of the hospital board and appoint, Dr. Dookie. So I wanted to be transparent. It's unfortunate events. Had I not had the interaction with hospital board members and what transpired, I wouldn't feel the need to have to remove anybody or appoint anybody. It's just, I'm not okay with talking to about all the members. I spoke with 5 of them. Out of 5, 3 of them said, we really don't know much. Miss Stephanie handles everything. Speaking with Miss Stephanie, there was a few times, I don't think we're really transparent enough. And what's being said and what's on paper is 2 totally different things. And a lot of people saying that Mr. Dookie is 100% against the hospital or healthcare or anything. From speaking with Mr. Dookie, and it looks like he's here today. I don't know if y'all don't know him, maybe to put his perspective, but just from me speaking with him at a logical standpoint, he's not against the hospital from the sounds of it. It sounds like he's involved enough to know. I don't think he believes it's financially stable. But I want a hospital. I want health care. But at the end of the day, I don't want, the hospital board to build something like this, school board building that we're fighting tooth and nail to find the funds to pay for and operate. So I just wanted to be transparent and tell the people why I'm making this hard decision, because this is a decision I don't want to make, honestly, I don't. But I feel it's a good decision, and I need to stand for what's right and what I feel would be best. But like I said, it's gonna take a vote from all of us, so, and that might be able to speak volume to my fellow jurors to help y'all in y'all's decision. And then, that one would kinda address that. And like I said, I don't know if y'all had questions for Mr. Dookie, cause I know it's a very sore subject in this matter, so I just wanna be very transparent and allow everybody possible to get the knowledge on all this.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. On this one issue, I'm gonna have to disagree. I think that it's a sad situation that we don't have compassion for our board member. I know we might have some issues in this hospital, and we could discuss those till hell freezes over. But when we start pulling people off when they're in the situation that she's in, it just doesn't sit well with me as a Christian, and I can't support that. Has nothing to do with your appointment, has to do with the removal of
Yes.
Ms. Michelle. And I'm stating that for the fact, and if it does come to a vote, I'll be against it.
Absolutely, and I really appreciate that, and from a heartening point, a personal point, like I said, I really wish I wouldn't even have to think about doing this, because it does hurt my soul to have to do this. But unfortunately, from a business standpoint and for what's best of the parish, I have to make this crucial call. And like I said, I could only bring it to the table. It only goes past with us. So as far as that topic, I just wanted to be very transparent and very clear. And why am I doing it? Because there's a lot of talk out there, a lot of concerns. And my goal of running was to be transparent with the people. Sometimes I'm gonna have to say something that's gonna hurt somebody's feelings, or it's not right. But as far as to me, this is a job, a business, and we gotta do what's right. So sometimes we have to make difficult calls, and this is one that I do not want to make, but unfortunately, I personally think I have to make. So I just wanted to bring you up to speed on that. And then I had another question about another agenda, if y'all had any,
Go ahead.
about the health unit stuff with the hospital. Again, we want the hospital, we want health care. We wanted it the day after Laura come. Unfortunately, the previous board, the board now, they're fighting hurdles, they're fighting battles, they're sticking with it. But unfortunately, with the health unit, the facts just aren't there. I think Mr. Gary got some insight on the drawings. I'm talking with Dr. Lacey Kavanaugh. The building plan is because I think the first building plan, we had an office for the coroner. I think by law, we gotta do it. Do we have an office for him?
Currently, no.
Okay, and I think in those plans, it was the health unit with that. Now, they're retrofitting it, and Dr. Lacey Kavanaugh's being very professional. The way she's wording stuff to me and telling me, she wants to work with the hospital board. She's good with the bill, but at the end of the day, from what I'm gathering from her, all the stuff they're adding, the nurses station, the x-ray room, that's all stuff the health unit's not gonna be able to use when they leave. I really wish on certain things like that, maybe they could have come to an agreement or presented it that once the hospital board would leave, that if the health unit needed it, something built back as it was, I would have really liked to seen that in the project. Because at the end of the day, the health unit is a parish-wide tax. It's not just for the hospital. You know, the hospital is consolidated to our area. And with that, I just really don't see. And on top of that, at April 12th meeting in 2023, Mr. Tom stated the hospital needs to be higher because that was not the best use of taxpayers' dollars to rebuild. Also, not feasible to rebuild the hospital like it sits. It needs to be higher and sturdier. And they're coming to us and asking us to do this with the health unit. We're gonna rebuild it on the ground. What happens if in the summer a storm comes and we're back to square one? You know, it just, to me, it's not the right move. I truly believe, I've been going out my way and probably, we got a hospital board, but I'm very concerned, we need services. I went as much as north of the health unit, not the health unit, ambulance building. The hospital owns a building that's gutted. It's nice. Mr. Shane, me and you and a couple other drawers, we toured the health unit here. There was trash all over the floor. It looks pretty rough in there. This building looks immaculate. You could almost eat off the floor. Taking into consideration of having to elevate it. It has iron legs. It's 8 bolts on each pole. You could jack it up, get an I-beam. You could even elevate it in no time compared to the health unit. It would be very feasible. And I think we even went as far as even throwing on the table as far as maybe something to do with our multi-purpose building back here. It's a very big building, open floor plan, ready to go. I just firmly don't think the health unit idea is a great way to go and proceed across all boards. And I want to be very transparent. I'm not stopping nothing. A lot of people's making the comment, I'm stopping stuff. I'm not. I look at the facts. I look at what's on paper. People talk good, but I look at the facts. I'm a factual guy. And the fact is, that part of the hospital, I'm gonna have to disagree with and not be on board with as far as the health unit. But however, I want to push and do everything I can for these services to get going as quickly as possible. So I just wanted to be transparent because there's a lot of people calling me in my area, so I want to state it on the record, be transparent with everybody, and just bring the facts to the table. So with that,
Thank you, Mark. Any other?
I've got a couple of questions on the agenda.
Go ahead, sir.
B, ERM, the borings at Wakefield Road, what's the purpose for those?
They have to do this in order to see if there's any subsurface contaminants.
For a future project?
For a future project, yes.
Okay. I think that's all I have.
Any other questions?
yeah, for the beachfront development, District 2 with Vicky Keith, their terms expiring. I want to see if we could reappoint her. She likes that. And also for the gravity drainage with Anthony Swear, it says term expired. I want to reappoint Mr. Anthony.
Yeah, you just
We'll
make
do
a
that
motion
in
to
regular.
reappoint.
Yeah, but I just
Oh,
wanted
yeah.
to make sure, I reached out to him just to make sure that's how we go on. Thank you.
Mr. Ronald, I have a question real quick on
Go
the,
ahead.
insurance binding. Do y'all wanna do an add-on to give the administrator authority to sign the, final insurance policies with the lowest quotes?
Yes.
So we'll have that one add-on.
Yeah.
Mr. President, if you would like, I think our project manager's here, Mr. Randy Thomas, and he'd like to discuss the change order. It's agenda item 13. Randy?
Mr. Rand?
Randy?
Oh, I'm sorry, what are you doing?
I got your pictures.
Probably reading. I think Katie got her own slide. We had to do some water blasts and do some cosmetic work at the library. And when we started, we found some structure problems, you know, and with bad, I mean, we're aware of it now, and I think we need to address it because if we did not look, we don't address it, I mean, if something ever happens, and then what's bad is on the ramps and the steps, so, and I had some engineers with me also looking at it, do second opinion, so, I really think the change order come in for the reason, for 23 something, whatever it was.
That's for what, Randy? What is that for?
It's just a new camera, I mean, the camera main library.
Okay.
And what happened was, I mean, once you sort of water blast, it looked like they didn't vibrate the concrete, and we got exposed steel out.
Right.
Holidays, if there's holidays in there, or is it,
Yeah, you see the picture there?
I understand, I'm just saying, you think the holidays existed, they were covered up?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And like I said, if we don't address it, something ever happens.
It's not structural movement that caused that,
No, it's just a lack of
original
vibration of
structure.
concrete, you know? So, that's pretty cool. And I thought-
What is the scope to actually, fix that? What does the scope look like?
What's the what?
What does the scope of work look like to fix
They
it?
gotta come in there, they got some company out of New Orleans that specializes in that. I really don't see what they doing, but they got a way, they got a plan to do it. I didn't look at the scope of work yet. It's gotta get approved before they ain't gonna come out with the scope of work.
Did they give you any figures on it, or
Sir?
did they give you any cost on it?
23.
It's $23,037 and an additional 10 days on the contract. And just, this has gone through the library board, and the library board is good with it.
And see, that's just a few examples. We got several spots in there. So like I said, I was waiting on 6 figures, to be honest with you. And probably nothing ever happened, but if it does, and we was aware of it.
You know about it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we would be interested to see what the engineering fix would look like, when they do get with you. I just don't think that they should be coming in there and squirting some J.B. Weld in them
No,
holidays.
you're right.
So I wanna know what they're gonna do.
And I'll find out the scope of work, son. I haven't looked at it.
Cause this could occur in other buildings in the future.
And this problem.
Yeah, they're not coming, yeah.
This problem, this ain't nothing storm related. This is
No.
probably worker error.
Actually, after this building was built after Rita, due to not vibrating the concrete.
Yeah, so basically it was a human error in
Right.
who we paid to do.
As a matter of fact, that's why we water blasting. There was exposed rebar at the bottom that was just cosmetic. And, then whenever we started hitting these honeycombs.
My only question on this would be, cause I know you always make sure to hold people accountable for their work and permits and stuff like that, and you do the best you can from what I see to save the parish as much money as we can if it's on somebody else's time. That's nothing we could, get with the people that done the work with and see if they would work with us and do something about, or we just decided not even to go to that route?
Well, they already in there, you know, and we could have pulled it out. Matter of fact, this is a different contract from storm related, okay?
Yeah.
Because FEMA won't fund this.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, yeah, we could probably do it, but by the time I get a bond and bid it in-house, I mean, they already there.
So we
so-
gonna get reimbursed
Actually.
with FEMA with this?
No.
Not this, this is not storm related.
Okay.
That's why we're doing a different contract with them, right, Mary? We're doing this contract also, what else we doing? with
The
this?
structural repairs with the rebar that was exposed, that's what this contract is.
Right, but what else is on that contract?
They had some, the stairwell, the stairs, some of the, handrails and stuff underneath where the rebar was exposed, where they
Right.
redid the
Cosmetic
ceiling stuff.
Okay.
Mhm.
See, anything storm related, we gotta go in a different contract, but with the same contract.
Yes.
Because we can only send FEMA storm related.
But this is coming out
But
of
it's
the
not
library.
storm related.
but-
But
Okay.
library.
They're okay with that?
Yes.
Yeah, the library approved it, and they looked at it, and me, I took out the director, and showed him, and showed all the board members, everything.
Well, they're all good with it, I'm good with it, I just, like I said, I just wanna make sure, cause I know we pay these people a lot of money to build these.
Oh, yeah, trust me, I know. And like I said, I was expecting more.
Yeah,
be
yeah,
honest.
oh, yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Randy.
Thank you, Randy.
Mr. Ronald, also in the audience is Mr. Andy Tingler, and he's here to talk to you guys about agenda item number 26.
Okay, Mr. Andy?
Good morning. Cameron Preservation Alliance would like to place a historical marker in front of the courthouse to commemorate the construction of the courthouse and the roughly 1,000 people that survived Hurricane Audrey inside this structure. We already have the funds through Cameron LNG's donation for the Gibbs Elm Bridge 5K. So we have the funds, just need the approval for the placement. This would be, if you guys approve it, the state would have to approve it, which would be August or so, and then the state would not give us a sign until winter, so it'll still be a year or so away. But the placement of the sign would probably be best on the south end of the lawn. By their guidelines, they would like it closest to the structure or historical site as possible, but also the best visibility generally is closer to the state right away, which would be the highway. But if you have an open area where the public has access to in that location. So if you put it on the south end of the lawn, it's closest to the highway, but it's not impeding on the view of the courthouse, essentially. I don't know if you had the text, but let's see.
I think I have it on the screen, Mr.
Have it on the screen, okay. And the state will go through and kind of QC my grammar and all that kind of good stuff. So they may change it up a little bit because it will go through the state, and then the state historic preservation officer, and there's a historic preservation officer at LSU will go through and fact check everything. The deadline for the application is May 15th, and like I said, they wouldn't review it until August or so. It's one of those brown signs you see on the side of the road that you're driving along. It says historical marker and that kind of stuff. It gives us a chance to recognize the structure without having to put it on the National Register. So, which is a lot of gnashing of teeth with the National Register at times. So, gets away from having to have the overview of the state if something was to go on with the courthouse.
So are we good with the siding? Do we have
Are
any
you?
issues?
Okay.
I mean, does anybody have any issue with the siding, where it's gonna be placed in?
I believe the judge is here. She might have some comments. Judge, please.
We have some plaques, on the thing that's in front of the stairwell.
Okay.
On both sides. I think we have the plaque of when it was built. I think that's probably more appropriate. People could see it as they enter the courthouse. But
I mean, I'm just asking.
it's not near.
I'm good with it, I want you to do it, I think it's a great thing, I just wanna make sure everybody's happy where we put it.
We can walk over there and I'll show you what I'm talking about.
Okay.
I wouldn't see any
Do we need to put this as an add-on, it's on the agenda so
It's
we can
on
vote?
the agenda. Y'all can just approve it and allow Andy to work with the judge and everyone on placement and everything, if y'all are okay with it.
And y'all can change the text too. It's not it has guidelines in there, I believe, and the pricing stuff. So it's roughly 1 inch letter size, and that would cost our organization about $2,600. Although these are the last year's prices, they want to adjust them until the deadline closes. And it was like 41 spaces per line and 13 lines on the side.
Andy, is there any risk of getting rejected by putting it close to the?
No, it is actually up to the parish. They just have their guidelines of where they prefer it.
Okay.
It says closest to the historical structure or site, but they like it to where it has the most visibility for the public when they're passing by, because they have like an app. And Texas has one too, where you can see where the historical structures, or the historical markers are, and you can pull off a little wayside or whatever. Here it'd be the parking lot, obviously, and read the sign and notice them down the road. So.
I think Ms. Richard has a good point, especially when you consider floating debris and hurricanes and everything.
Yeah, and I know, the pole comes separately. You have the sign, you place it on after. And I think some places in the past have taken the sign off because they're made of bronze.
Okay.
They're not exactly light, but to prevent them from having issues with floating debris and whatnot,
Great.
and maybe reduce.
Andy, thank you for your time invested into this. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Sonny, do you wanna talk about item 27, since we're talking about historical markers and
I
murals?
think we talked about it before, but, yes, it's been requested that they, wanna paint a mural, sort of a postcard type setting in Hollow Beach Fire Station on the north wall of the Hollow Beach Fire Station. So when you're approaching Hollow Beach, you can see it. And we've gotten approval from the fire department, we've gotten approval from everybody, we just need you guys to sign off and say it's okay with y'all. I think it'd be good, best thing we can do without a big billboard or something to the effect. And it's not gonna cost us anything.
Do you know exactly, what they intend to put?
I sent that, to, Mary, did you get a copy of that? I sent that over here.
I got, the only thing I got was, Charlotte sent me the minutes and the letter
I think it was,
from,
I have it, I'll tell you what, I'll get it in between the meetings and I'll show it to you.
Okay, yeah, as long as nothing controversial or,
I think it's something that they had already on the sign somewhere for Hollow Beach back during the, Cajun River area days.
thank you. Anything else? Any other questions? Motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
All right. Motion made by Mr. Michael, second by Mr. Sam. All in favor?